The bat signal burned the clouds, and no one came. At this point, everything felt fragile but familiar. Crime still happened. Fear still worked. People still believed that when the night got too loud, Batman would answer. The cops waited. The criminals hesitated. The city breathed, knowing something watched over it. Until one night, the sky stayed empty. At first, it didn't feel like a disaster, just a delay, a rumor, a bad night. Batman had vanished before, injured, missing, presumed dead. He always came back. But this time, the silence lingered. No shadow on rooftops, no whisper in the alleys, no fear in the eyes of men who should have been terrified. Gotham noticed, slowly, uneasily. And then, someone made a decision no city should ever make. The police stopped waiting. They told themselves it was temporary, that order mattered more than symbols, that badges could replace legends. New task forces were formed, drones filled the sky, armored vans rolled through streets that once relied on shadows. It worked. For a moment. Crime dipped. Response times improved. The numbers looked clean. But fear didn't disappear. It migrated. Without Batman, criminals stopped hiding. They organized. They recruited. They tested limits that had been untouched for years. The gangs learned something important. The night no longer punished them, so they pushed harder. Police answered with force. Force answered with riots. Riots answered with fires. Every solution fixed one problem and created three more. It worked. For a moment. Then the masks returned. Not costumes. Symbols. Spray-painted bats crossed out in red. New emblems replacing old myths. Gotham didn't just lose a protector. It lost a language. Without Batman, there was no line criminals feared crossing. No unspoken rule. Just territory. And in that chaos, someone else made a choice. They decided Gotham didn't need a guardian. It needed control. Curfews were enforced. Surveillance expanded. Private security contracts swallowed entire districts. The city told itself this was safety. It worked. For a moment. Until people started disappearing. Not kidnapped. Not murdered. Removed. No charges, no trials, just vans, paperwork, silence. The streets grew quieter. Not safer. Quieter. That's when the whispers started. Not about Batman. About replacements. Men wearing armor without restraint. Punishment without rules. Justice without mercy. This wasn't a misunderstanding anymore. This was intention. Gotham had tried to fill the hole Batman left behind, and built something worse. Heroes stayed away. They felt it. This city didn't want help. It wanted obedience. Criminals adapted. They always do. They learned the blind spots, the schedules, the bribes. Civilians learned something else. Fear works both ways. Every night, Gotham asked the same question. Not, where is Batman? But, what happens if he never comes back? And the answer arrived faster than anyone expected. A riot broke out in the Narrows. Not over money, not over power, over hope. People were tired of being protected by machines and men who didn't care who they crushed. The police responded with force. The crowd responded with fire. The city burned itself trying to stay alive. Above it all, the bat signal was activated again, not as a call, as a warning. It cut through smoke, through ash, through belief. Still, no answer. That was the moment Gotham realized something terrifying. The city hadn't been protected by Batman. It had been restrained by him. And now, with no one left to say enough, Gotham was free to become exactly what it always feared. The night grew louder, darker, more honest. And somewhere in that chaos, someone smiled. Because Gotham without Batman was finally a city that could be claimed. The gangs didn't fight for Gotham anymore. They managed it. Blocks became assets. People became leverage. Fear became currency. Without Batman, crime stopped being chaotic. It became efficient. The city answered the only way it knew how. More cameras, more curfews, more force. It worked, for a moment. Then a precinct vanished overnight. Not destroyed, evacuated. Every officer gone, every file wiped, every screen looping the same message. Order has a cost. That was the night the other heroes noticed. Not because Gotham asked for help, because Gotham stopped pretending it wanted it. Figures tried to intervene. Quietly, carefully. They didn't last long. Some were exposed. Some were framed. Some simply disappeared into the system Gotham had built to protect itself. Saving the city was no longer the goal. Owning it was. And at the center of it all was a truth no one wanted to say out loud. Batman had never just fought criminals. He had kept everyone else from becoming one. Now, that restraint was gone. The government stepped in, declared emergencies, authorized solutions that didn't ask permission. Gotham became an experiment. How much control could a city survive before it stopped being a city? Every victory cost something. Crime rates fell, so did protests, so did free speech. People stopped looking up at rooftops. They looked down, stayed quiet, learned the rules. That's when the rumor spread. Not that Batman was alive. Worse, that he was watching and choosing not to return. Hope didn't die. It curdled. If Batman saw this and stayed away, then this was what Gotham deserved. And then, someone broke the pattern. A symbol appeared one morning, not projected, painted. A simple bat, unbroken. No announcement, no threat, just a reminder. The city froze. The authorities called it vandalism, ordered it erased. It reappeared somewhere else, then again, and again. Not as a call for rescue, as an accusation. This wasn't a misunderstanding anymore, this was guilt. The system panicked. Crackdowns intensified. Entire neighborhoods were locked down. It worked. For a moment. Until the people pushed back. Not violently. Together. They blocked streets, shut down cameras, refused orders that didn't come with justice. To stop them, the city crossed its final line. Martial law. That was the moment the myth finally returned, not in armor, not from the shadows, in a broadcast. A single message hijacked every screen in Gotham. No threats, no speeches, just one sentence. You were never afraid of me. Pause. You were afraid of what I kept you from becoming. The city held its breath. The message ended. No return, no salvation, just truth. The enforcers hesitated. The criminals recalculated. The people understood. Batman wasn't coming back to save Gotham, because Gotham had already proven it could survive without him. What it couldn't survive was becoming him. The city didn't collapse that night. It didn't reset. It didn't heal. It changed. Slowly. Painfully. Deliberately. Control loosened. Not out of mercy, out of fear. Because once Gotham knew it could become a monster, it chose not to. The bat signal was dismantled months later, not destroyed, retired. No one looked for Batman again. They didn't need him to fight for them. They needed to remember why he existed. The world survived. The symbol did not. And Gotham never fully recovered. If you want more stories where heroes disappear and worlds are forced to face the consequences, subscribe to Genesis Vault. Because some legends don't end, they echo.